Welcome back to the third edition of the Brotherly Love podcast. I'm Christopher Colman here with Theo Kuchar, and we are going to be wrapping up the third game of round one in the MLS playoffs. So we've had a busy weekend, and the conference semifinals are now set. So we'll start off Charlotte versus NYC. What did you think about that game?
Yeah, New York City came out strong. I mean, they got up 2-0. It was looking like they were just going to wrap the game up. 81st minute, they gave up that goal. It was looking like Charlotte was going to get that second. They had them pinned in the whole time. Stoppage time, you could tell Charlotte's fans were electric. They thought they were getting that equalizer. Corner, they just booted up off the counter attack. And I think it was Josh Wolf, he came down the field and it was the work ethic. He was breaking tackles through people, just stayed with the ball and then unloaded the ball off down the wing and they just chipped the keeper. I mean, it was simple. It wrapped the game up and it got them over to the next round where they're going to play the Union.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I said it yesterday about round two. NYC has been so good defensively in these playoffs, I thought. And the way they're able to just hold down the game, they built up the lead. They gave up that one goal. It was 2-1, but they defend so well. Matt Freese, one of the best goalies in the MLS. And the ability to turn defense into offense that they have with that counterattack. Like you said, Wolf got the goal, and I think it was actually a brace for him on the night. So great game for him, and really amazing from NYC. I think the only upset in round one, and they played it perfectly. They didn't win at home, but they're good on the road, and they played well. You have a good goalie. You have a compact defense that's good for the playoffs, and I think they have a chance of making a long run. I don't know.
Yeah, they looked really good. I mean, they've had a great defense, especially with Matt Freese in the back there. Coming out of the Union's academy, I mean, you wish you could have kept him. But, I mean, Blake's been good. But the team, I mean, they look very strong. They're going to put up a fight against the Union, especially with their dangerous counterattack because the Union have been susceptible to that, especially on the back post. I like to see how that turns out, but we'll see. It'll be a very good game.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, you kind of wonder now, where does Charlotte go? Because they're losing their star defender, young player, Adilson Malanda. He's going to, I think, somewhere in EFL Championship. And then I don't know if Zaha's the man to lead the charge, to be honest. He's such a liability with his antics on the field. So many cards, so much, drama around him. Toklamani's one of the best young players at striker, the Israeli forward. And Kalina's still a great goalkeeper, but you definitely wonder where does Charlotte go from here, I think.
Yeah, coming in from the offseason, they bought Leo Labada from Celtic. I mean, they were looking like they were going to be a dangerous team. They got the fourth seed. I mean, I guess you could think it's a little disappointing seeing as they were going to be Shield contenders going into the season, but they got the home field advantage. But then again, Zaha he's been proven in the Premier League, but we can also see he's very susceptible of getting just baited into making stupid tackles, and I mean, really, to put it simply, he gets rage baited pretty easily.
Yeah,
It's a liability, like you said, and I mean they do have young talent still, and I mean they will have Lila Bada, but I mean they're losing people, and I don't know if their goalkeeping and young players are going to be just enough.
Yeah, definitely. And Tim Ream, head of the defense with Malanda, he's getting older. I don't know how much longer he can carry that on. And like you said, I mean, Zaha, you've got Jesus Bueno in that last game of the season, which Charlotte wins. It meant nothing for the Union pretty much. And Bueno's just messing with him, and he ends up punching Bueno. And you wondered maybe, I mean, obviously that impacted game one a lot because NYC goes to Charlotte. Charlotte doesn't have Zaha, their star up top, who he's still a really good player, but all that aside, you can't get mad about that stuff as a player. You just got to let it run and play your own game.
Yeah, you got to keep your head, especially knowing that the playoffs are the next round. You're up multiple goals late in the game in stoppage time. It's a must-win playoff series coming up next at home. Their first playoff home games, and you just can't lose your head like that. It lets the team down, and I think that's part of the reason they got shut out in that first game, and it just set a tone.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought what was crazy was that was actually Charlotte's, in the third game, that one goal they scored was their first playoff goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think straight up,
Yeah.
or at least it was
I
their
think
first
so.
home playoff goal. So that's pretty crazy that a team that was so dominant in the regular season. I know they started off
Mm-hmm.
rather poorly, but the way over the summer and into the fall they were able to play so well. They jumped all the way. They started all the way down at 9th or 10th and came all the way up. At some point, they were number 2. So
Yeah.
yeah,
They were a very good team coming down the stretch. I mean, you would be disappointed going out that early, but it's just what happens in the game. You go cold at a certain moment, especially in the playoffs. It's going to cost you.
yeah, no doubt. Then we had Inter Miami versus Nashville, and that was just never a close game. 4-0 final. Messi gets the brace, and even without Suarez, I thought Nashville would come in there and they had a good shot. You know, they played so well last weekend at home with their home fans. Huge win, defended well, so good on offense. They exposed all of Inter Miami's weaknesses, and then they go to Miami and it looks like a different team.
Yeah, they played so well at home. They go to Miami. I mean, we were expecting a lot closer of a game, maybe some fireworks, maybe a shootout. But I mean, we checked the score about I think 75 minutes in, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't a game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, I think if Miami's defense, it's so shaky. You know, you've got games where they'll hold the clean sheet, games where they'll give up 4 but somehow win 5-4, 4-3, whatever. But if their defense can hold down and they can have good goalkeeping, a strong defense, their firepower is what's going to keep them in the playoffs. But I think they have a really good shot if they can defend to win the whole thing.
Yeah, they focus so much on their star-studded offense. I mean, they've let themselves down at the back, and that's why they have such high-scoring games, because the only way they can win is when the offense goes off and puts in multi-goal performances. Because, I mean, you can see when they only score 2 goals, they often lose 3-2. I mean, it can't happen, especially if you're letting down that team up top. But that's just how they decide to set up their team. And if that shaky defense can hold up, they have a shot at the cup.
Yeah, no doubt. And then looking on the other side, San Diego versus Portland. San Diego goes back home after that devastating loss to Portland on penalty kicks in Portland, and they just knock them out the park. Another 4-0 win as well. Dreyer got a brace as well as Pellegrino, and they just show their class. And I think San Diego is going to be a really good team this playoffs. And you know, the West has a lot of stuff up in the air. Vancouver's really good. San Diego's really good. Minnesota looks pretty good, I think. We'll see what happens, yeah.
Yeah, especially with LAFC out there too with their attack. But I mean, it was never close. I mean, San Diego, they showed the reason why they were first in the West. I mean, Dreyer, he's been unstoppable all season, but I mean, they'll face a really difficult test against Minnesota. They've got one of the best defenses in the league, and it'll be interesting to see when the two opposites play, because it's going to be one of the most energetic attacks versus one of the strongest defense, and I think it'll probably be a 1-goal game, maybe go to penalties, but we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. And then if it does go to penalties, you wonder with Dane St. Clair, one of the best goalkeepers in the league, showed it again in that penalty shootout. You know, we'll see what happens there, but Dreyer looks really good, and I think as long as Dreyer is going, that San Diego offense is going to be good, and he always finds a way to make it work. And now that we see Pellegrino getting back on form, he got the brace in this game as well as the really nice goal in Portland. You know, he looks really good. He's paired well. He's starting to pair well with Dreyer, so we'll see how that works out. Over back in the East, Cincinnati versus Columbus. That was a really close game. Columbus, they come in and they play exactly how they wanted to, I thought. They get their goal. They're up 1. They defend really well. Schulte plays really well. Cincinnati brings one back, gets it back, and I thought it was going to go to penalty kicks late, and then Cincinnati gets that goal, and you feel bad for Columbus. They, like I said, they come in. It's going to be a really hard task going to TQL with the Cincinnati fans there, and they nearly pulled it off. They missed a few chances, but yeah.
Yeah, they just weren't clinical enough. Because, I mean, the defense worked out. It's what you want to do when you're an underdog, especially away from home in a must-win game. They stayed compact on defense. Schulte continued to play well, and they just couldn't take their chances. They got 1, but it's not enough. You always want that second goal for safety, and they just couldn't find it. I mean, Celentano played well in the back, kept it clean, and didn't give him too many options there, but they just weren't clinical enough, and I think that's what cost them in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like Russell Rowe on Columbus. He looks like a really good young up and coming star. There was a lot of questions about who would fill Cucho Hernandez's spot after leaving, and they bring in all these guys. They brought in Gazdag. They brought in Wessam
Abu Ali.
Abu Ali. But I think in the end, it's going to be Russell Rowe who's going to replace him, and I really like Russell Rowe there. He's a fun player to watch. Good finisher. He's fast. All around a great player. And on the other side, Evander, I mean, he's just so good. Every single goal that FC Cincinnati scores is coming from Evander. And it's just unbelievable how good he is. You see some of the things he does, and he's just something else.
Yeah, he's always contributing. But back to Russell Rowe, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him getting called up to the national team soon. He's been looking really good, and he's been creating a lot in the attack with Columbus. He also hustles back well sometimes on defense. And, I mean, it's really fun to watch. But, yeah, Evander, I mean, he's definitely up there. He was in the conversation for MVP. I don't think he had the stats, really. If you watched him play, you could really put him in that conversation. But just looking at numbers, like, a lot of the MVP stuff comes down to, he just didn't have the numbers. But, I mean, it was a great season for him. And, I mean, it was good to see that and see how he progresses, especially coming off. After being sold from Portland to FC Cincinnati, he's settled in really well.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you talk about the numbers. I think it's pretty crazy how Evander goes and has 33 goal contributions this year in less than 33 games, I believe, for Cincinnati. But somehow you've got Messi putting up 29 goals and 20 assists or whatever. But pretty crazy. Evander's definitely one to watch. For me, he's the best player in the league, I think, right now at least. I think maybe when Son really gets into form next year and we can see a full year of Son, it'll be interesting, but he is something else. And then paired with Brenner as well as Denke and even Kai Kamara. When I saw Kai Kamara come up and start playing for Cincinnati on, what was that, Saturday?
Yeah.
He played really well, and I think it shows how much attacking variety Cincinnati has. Three really good strikers. Kai Kamara, despite being old, he's still got that fight in him. One of the most experienced in the league. One of the highest goal scorers of all time in the MLS. They can run however they want, and Brenner's really good. I think it's great that he came back. Obviously, as a Union fan, we don't like to see it, but Brenner comes back. He left on bad terms, but he looks really good. Denke, obviously, a huge signing, so he's going to be big, and with even more years to grow, he'll definitely do well. And then, like I said, Kamara. So there's so much variety in there, as well as Orejano. When he plays on the right or left back, he can whip in great crosses. So they've got so much there, and I think if Cincinnati can figure out how to make it all work together, they'll be a really good contender. I don't really see them going all the way this year because there's just been too much struggle, but when they get it moving, it's going to be really good.
Yeah, they have such strong variety in attack. I think ever since those first couple seasons they finished towards the bottom of the table when they came into the league, ever since then they've been working on their variety in attack. And I mean, they haven't had anyone who's not contributed that they've gone out and bought. Denke's been really good coming down the stretch. I mean, Orejano, he was really good last year. He continued at this year. And then, I mean, just all throughout the attack, it's just been very proficient. I mean, it's just fun to watch them play.
Yeah, no doubt. And the last thing I'll say about that Columbus game was it was Darlington Nagbe's last game ever. He's retiring. And sad way to see his career go out. One of the best midfielders in our generation. Just the past 10 years for Crew, he's been so good. But sad way to go out, but a nice, to stay in, force that game 3. He's just something else.
Yeah, it's sad to see him go. I mean, he's a part of pretty much every MLS fan watching the game. I mean, you always saw him out there in playing FIFA 18 back in the day. I mean, you always saw him playing an MLS career. Like I would play with the Union. I mean, you always faced him. You always had to face him, and he always managed to do something in that game. He was always up there. And I mean, even in real life too, he was a good player. He was always contributing. And I mean, it'll be a huge change for their team, and they'll have to find a way to replace him.
Yeah, and I think overall the Crew are going to have a lot to look over. You've still got Nancy, one of the best managers, but obviously Schulte's going to stay. He's good. The defense looks pretty good, but moving farther up, there's still a lot of uncertainty. They bought Gazdag for $4 million. I don't know what's going to go on there, but it'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason and how they move on.
Yeah, especially with the fact that you got Schulte. I mean, he could always move. He could always get bought out by some bigger team like over in Europe because he's been attracting looks. I mean, he's been looking really good. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose him if you were Columbus because that would be just another spot to fill.
Yeah, and he's just so consistent. Every year in the past few years, he's been so good.
Mm-hmm.
But we move on. Minnesota versus Seattle, and that was just a crazy game. 3-3 full time.
Mm-hmm.
They go to pens. 10 total penalties taken, and the final is 7-6. Minnesota wins, and Dane St. Clair actually ends up taking a penalty kick, and then the Seattle keeper as well, and he just fires it off the crossbar. And there's a lot of uncertainty there for me because really late on, Seattle takes off their starting goalkeeper Fry and brings on their backup for the penalty kicks. And then you go out, and obviously the backup's done well. He's only given up 7 of 10. You really think your team should be able to go better than 7 for 10, I would say. And then just seeing him miss at the end, it was it left a sour taste for, I'm sure, a guy like Fry who's probably thinking, maybe I could have done better.
Yeah, he's a veteran. I mean, he's performed in the playoffs many times before. He's a huge keeper, and I mean, to take him out, especially in the first round, it's not like it's a final, and it's not like he's a keeper who, it's not like your backup is a penalty, specialist. He's played well in games, but he's never been a huge penalty guy. I mean, unless there was something that Stefan Fry told the coach, he told Brian Schmetzer, but, I didn't see anything. I mean, it would just, honestly, for him, suck seeing that, especially seeing as the backup keeper did put it off the bar. I mean, it sucks for him, especially going, 7 for 10. I mean, stopping 3 penalties, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. But then, it just sucks for him to put that off the bar. And, I mean, if you're Stefan Fry, you might feel a little wronged by that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think this whole playoff format, you really put a big question mark next to it, seeing that Minnesota's gone and the 2 games that they've won have been on penalty kicks.
Yeah.
And it's kind of odd. I don't know. I think maybe we'll talk about that later, about this whole new format, but pretty crazy. I think for me, Dane St. Clair, he's just on another level. He's so good, and he's the reason Minnesota are moving on. And as I've said so many times before, the playoffs, the big thing is if you have that good goalie, you don't want to go to penalty kicks, but if you do have to, having a guy like Dane St. Clair in net is great for you. But also Seattle, I don't know what happened. They went up 2-0 in 8 minutes, and they just couldn't close it out, and it was kind of crazy. And then they actually went down 3-2 and got that late equalizer to go to penalty kicks. But you just wonder a lot what's going on in Seattle. I think a lot will probably change. I know, obviously, Christian Roldan was still in the MLS Best 11, and you've still got Rusnak. He's really good. But it's just a really weird season. De La Vega maybe didn't play as well as you wanted, and he didn't play a lot. I think he was injured, right?
Yeah, he's been spotty. I mean, their entire team, they're all good. They all have good performances, but they never click. Everyone's always staggered. They're never all playing at their best at the same time. They have 3-run stretches of them playing well, and the rest of the team is just average. If they can find a way to click together, they'll be a dangerous team, which they have in the past. When they've made finals, and they've been good, a really good team. But I mean, recently it's just been disjointed, and I mean, they got to find their rhythm again.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the last thing I'll leave is the corners. Seattle scored the equalizer on the corner, and Minnesota scored 2 of their goals on corners. And I think it just shows a lot of playoff goals this year have come on corners. I think it's kind of odd that teams are unable to defend these corners so well as they were in the regular season. And maybe that moves us on to thinking if you can defend well in the playoffs on corners, worry less about your offense, and maybe something works out.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be the pressure. I don't know what it is, but the marking on corners has gone down a bunch in the playoffs, I think. And that's led to a lot of goals from corners. And I mean, just interesting to see. And who knows? Maybe it's just a trend that's going to start and continue into the beginning of next year. And I mean, could just be a playoffs thing, though. I mean, it could just be the pressure.
Yeah, no doubt. Overall, what do you think? We're now 1 week down from the playoffs, and there's a lot to talk about in general. Just overall in the MLS season, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, the MVP, the MVP discussion. I mean, that's a hot topic because I mean, you saw Messi win the MVP. Yes, he's been the best player in the league. I mean, you could say that, but he's one of the best players in the world, if not the best. You would expect him to go from PSG to come to the MLS. I think this is his second or third full season. He's still at the top of his game. You should expect him. You should expect that he's going to be one of the best players in the league. But then you see him go up against players like Anders Dreyer and Evander and Sam Surridge. I mean, they've been huge parts of their team. Dreyer carrying this new San Diego team coming into their inaugural season. He's a huge part of that team. If he was not there, I doubt they would be in the spot they were in right now. Evander, he's creating so much in Cincinnati. And then Surridge, he hasn't done as much with the assists, only 3 assists, but 25 goals. He's carried that attack well throughout the season. And I mean, it's just crazy to think because, I mean, if you see Miami, they have a huge star-studded lineup. When they miss Messi, not too much changes, really. I mean, they still get the results most of the time. It's not too different, but if you see no Dreyer, is there really much of a San Diego? Same with Evander and Surridge. I mean, what's your take on the MVP?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about the way we interpret like the award overall. You know, MVP, most valuable player, right? So for me, that's who has changed their team the most. And no doubt Miami would be really good. Or they are really good with Messi. And he's a part of over 55% of their goals, whether goals or assists. So obviously, you know, without Messi, I think you take away Messi, Miami, maybe they make the playoffs in the 8th seed, 7th seed. I don't know. But for me, Evander is just on another level. He's part of 60% of Cincinnati goals. And even when you watch the game, even when he doesn't get the number stats, he's still the best player out there by a mile. And every goal is somehow connected back towards him. Whether it's he takes the corner and it bounces around in the box and they score. And maybe he doesn't get the counting stat, like the assist for that. Or he takes a shot, a big shot, it gets deflected and someone taps it in. You know, I think Evander for me is the MVP. And I don't think it's even close. You know, Messi has the counting stats. But for me, Evander changes Cincinnati in a way that no one else really could. I think you throw Evander on any team in the MLS and they get way better. No doubt you put Messi on any team, they're going to get better, but the way Evander does it, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves, and he's just, for me, totally something else. But I also think in this whole discussion, you know, you've got Surridge, Dreyer, Messi, and Evander. I think Zinkernagel deserves to be in this discussion. He comes in, 15 goals, 15 assists, and the way he impacts Chicago, and we even saw it in the first playoff game, is just on another level as well. You know, Chicago cannot create without him. And for me, he should be up there. I think Evander's still better, and I have him as my MVP, but I think Zinkernagel deserves to be in this conversation.
Yeah, the only worry about Zinkernagel, though, is he doesn't have the team performance to back that. I mean, only getting in as a wild card spot, I mean, you could argue he has been a huge part of that team. That's why he made the All-Star team. I mean, he just doesn't have the team's finish to back that. And with Surridge, I mean, going back on that, I think I would place him out of Evander, Dreyer, and Messi. I think he would definitely be in 4th. He's been a huge contributor with the goals, but he hasn't done much else. Only 3 assists. He hasn't been as much in the midfield with creating. He's been really clinical, and I mean, that's why he would have the Golden Boot if it wasn't for Messi's 29. But, I mean, just seeing the assists, you would just have to find another person who is as clinical and could put the ball in the net. That simple. Evander, definitely, he's a huge part of Cincinnati. I mean, you take him out of the team since he's dead in the water. And I think it's really between him and Dreyer. Both of them huge parts of their team. If there was an East and a West one, a separate one, they would each have their own. I mean, they've been fun to watch. Dreyer and Evander, they all play with that energy. Dreyer, I feel like, is more explosive and uncontrolled, and that's what makes him so hard to guard. Evander, it's more controlled, and he can share it without the team. and that's what makes him really good without the stats, because you can see he spreads that like worth around the field. And Dreyer, I mean, he uses that himself, and it's really good. It works with the team. They both have different forms. If they were both on a team together, that would be unstoppable.
Yeah. And I mean, the last thing I'll say is, Messi, he's so good, but he can't play every game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Messi plays every single game, Miami wins the Shield, right?
Yeah.
So, you've got Evander going out there. He plays every single game. So does Dreyer. They're out there playing every single game. And Messi just can't. He's older, right? So I don't think, obviously, he has the stats. And you could put this either way. You could say this proves even more why Messi should be the MVP. But for me, it actually shows, like, he's not there for his team always. And when he's not there, they don't get the results. And that's how they end up in, the third seed, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's Evander's still better. Even Dreyer, he has a good, he has the stats to back it up. But it could go either way. I think Messi will win because I feel like this league just likes Messi way more than everyone else, obviously. He's bringing in all the fans.
They bring in the revenue, too. But, I mean, he is granted, one of the best, if not the best player in the world. I mean, he definitely has the numbers. He's a great player. He's managed the league really well, and I mean, you can see that in the way his team performed in the season, going up for the Shield. If he does play every game, they probably do win the Shield. But I mean, yeah, just being there for the team, Dreyer and Evander there week in, week out. Messi, I mean, he's taking the breaks. Yeah, he's old. He's older. He kind of does need it. But I mean, when it comes down to an MVP, you would think if Messi weren't there, really, I think it would be Dreyer or Evander.
Yeah, no doubt. How about the 3-game playoffs? We touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think they're a big question around the league. A lot of fans, should we have a 3-game playoff or not? It seems kind of silly, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they say it gives underdogs a chance. They've had it for 3 years. One upset in 2023. There was one this year. There were 4 in 2024. I don't know if it was the year. I forget the matchups exactly. I know the Union weren't in it, so that might have been why it was crazy. But, I mean, you see that, and it really makes you think, is it really just to give underdogs a chance? Or, I don't know what it is.
No doubt it's for marketing, right? They're going to make more money. But I think what's funny is you look at the matchups, and I know this year, if you went down the line of all the first games of the series, the favorite, the team at home, won every single game except NYC. And the only team, except Charlotte. And the only team to go on and not win as a favorite was Charlotte. So I think you can't even say, like, undeserving teams advance. I think the format itself is just messed up. It's stretched out the playoffs, and now you've got playoffs, the finals December 9th. It's sometime in December. It's just silly.
Round 2 is split up by an international break. If you sweep, you have to wait 2.5 weeks to play your next game. And I mean, you saw it. Everyone who won their first game goes through. It's the same as if you had a 1-game format.
Exactly.
And I mean, in the way saying undeserving teams advance, you saw Minnesota go up and advance over Seattle. Seattle won a game and tied 2, which they lost on a shootout with no extra time.
Yeah.
You think if there's extra time, maybe they get that win. Or maybe Minnesota get the win, which would be a lot more respectable than the shootouts. Because then you can see it as Minnesota advance over Seattle to the conference semifinals with 2 draws and a loss.
Yeah.
If you showed that to anyone else around the world, they would think you're crazy.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think the format is definitely here to stay. It's very American to have a round where you need to win a best of 3, a best of 5, a best of 7, whatever. But it's definitely a format I don't think a lot of people like, and it just doesn't. It seems like a lose-lose because you've got underdogs are still losing, and favorites are just playing more games and risking a higher chance of injury, card accumulation, all that. So I don't know, kind of silly. But moving on, any other things you think about?
Well, yeah, my last thought about the 3-game playoff format. If they did want more games and just more games with the playoff action, you could see it. They would do a 2-game home and away aggregate score, because like you saw in the Cincinnati-Columbus game, Columbus put 4 on Cincinnati in game 2. If you have an aggregate score, Columbus advance. And I mean, you could do that throughout the playoffs. You would get more games. You would get that action that the league wants and that the fans want, and it would still be within reason. I mean, you would play home and away, and whoever's the best team over those 2 games gets through.
Yeah, I think I like that format, especially since they use it in Champions League, they use it in Europa League, all around the leagues. They use it, and it works out well. I think that's definitely a form they should look at, but I don't think they will. It's not what they want to see.
Yeah.
But they could definitely, they would be able to extend the series, right? So they could have conference semifinals on aggregate, conference finals on aggregate. Obviously, you wouldn't have a final on aggregate, but still, definitely a different thought. I think it would work, but I don't think they'll look to it.
Yeah, I remember they used to do it back a while ago in the early 10s, I believe, but I mean, I don't think they'll change it at this point. If anything, they'll just go back to 1 games, really. I doubt they would do anything drastic and increase the games. That would bring more outrage, especially with player usage. Especially this year. I mean, you could complain player usage because they've got World Cup qualifiers. They want to be able to go out and perform their best for their team. They have an international break this week, and they've just played 3 crammed match weeks. If your team played 3 games, you're playing 3 games crammed together in a 2.5 or 2 week span, and then you're gonna have to go and perform for your national team and try to get them qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, if we see injuries this week in the World Cup qualifiers, I think it'll just be straight outrage from the MLS community. I mean, it's such a joke to have international break in between the playoffs. This is like having an international break in between the semifinal and the final of the Champions League or something. It doesn't work out. It's honestly really silly. But yeah, I think great week overall. It'll be an exciting week in what would be, I guess, the week after
22nd, I think.
Yeah.
Is the conference semifinals. That'll be interesting to watch. We got some good matchups.
Yeah, it'll be great. And we'll be back next week, back to the normal time, either Thursday or Friday. Here at 2 p.m. We'll be going over a little bit of the international break as well as any other news around the league. So thank you for watching. I'm Christopher Colman here with Theo Kuchar and Cristiano Forcino on the production, and we'll be back next week. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.